Albeit I know that Graham talked about the storylines of 17 years of the 17-year-olds, but you guys, in dispersing and mixing, youth with experience, you guys got one of the oldest guys in the auction in Wayne Madsen. I suppose also it just shows you there's still like a market and value, for guys who've been around the block like him.
Absolutely. I think we specifically went for him. We wanted a backup batter with a lot of experience. Also with a good track record. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he jumps out at you, and he's also really good and strong against spin. So that's why we specifically went for him. And his experience that he will bring to our change rooms, as you said, mixing with the young players. That's what it's all about, and I'm sure he's going to fit in really well with the Super Kings family.
This one is for Robbie. I see that you went for Thomas Caver, and it looked like you guys were all excited when you got him. I'm sure you've seen him out of border. What was a guy like him bring to your side this season?
I think we just needed a second spinner. I think a left-arm wrist spinner in conjunction with Rashid, just provides us different options. There were times we probably tried to play Waka and Rashid in the same team last year, and we weren't afforded that opportunity. So having a local wrist spinner, experienced now, he's over 30, he's been around for a while. We felt that was a good addition to the group.
On Bears, what has set him apart? He's played very well locally, obviously, and I think he was exactly playing for Hills, I think. What has set him apart that you guys really know?
Well, we basically had to repick most of our squad, to be honest. We just picking up a few lost players, but taking the advice of local coaches, Russell Mingo is now with us, Adrian Broyles, head coach, Bakes. They spoke highly of him, and there was a couple other all-rounders that obviously went before him that also fetched a nice price. So we were just looking for somebody that could do kind of a job in the middle with the bat and kind of bowl. So we're very happy that he's joined us, and just a spare player, just in case something goes wrong with the other guys. But we were quite settled with our squad going into it. So a couple of nice purchases, and we're very happy with our full squad.
My question goes out to Jonty. Jonty, in looking at the players that you've selected for the Durban Super Giants, they seem to have Hollywood Pets Dolphins characteristic, as they're mostly Dolphins players, Jason Smith and Bryce Parsons. Is the local knowledge of the players the key reason for that?
It is very much, and obviously you have to bat left-handed to play for DSG. Trying to get LB, but he wasn't that interested anymore. Apparently he's retired probably. But yeah, it very much local knowledge of these players coming through. And I think it's important too. Players get to feel at home as quickly as possible. It makes a massive difference. Everybody talks about the difference they can make in the dressing room. And if you've got people walking around with big eyes, rabbits in the headlights, it's quite difficult for them to feel a part of the franchise. So yeah, I think that the local knowledge does make a difference, and ensuring that players that we bring in feel comfortable in the setting.
Jock, in terms of one of your experienced picks, a guy with the pedigree of Paul Sterling, to be fair, feels like a bit of a steal at 425.
It was, yes, to be honest. We banked on him going a little higher than that, but a nice guy to have, obviously a powerful hitter in front of things. As a world-class player, and certainly in our dressing room is going to play a big role. So we're very surprised with that, but very thankful at the same time.
Any last takers? Yes, sure.
I know you got him early, so he wasn't unfortunate tonight, but there's been a lot of publicity around Kwena, and what did you see in him that makes you think he's got a really big future?
Yeah, so we obviously signed Kwena pre-auction. Massive potential, obviously 17 years old. So from a Royals perspective, we just looked at a big upturn in what his potential could potentially get to. So trying to get him early and not taking the risk of maybe a big purse at the auction. So yeah, that was our thoughts around getting him pre-auction.
Yes,
Last one for me. This one's for Graham. Graham, there were 80 rookies who put their names up for this auction. Like, firstly, were you surprised by it? But what does it tell you about the health and the future of South African cricket with 80 prospective players looking for a spot?
Yeah, look, I think it's fantastic. It shows you the interest in the Betway SA20. I think, I've said a number of occasions that what the franchises bring from a coaching, medical, business, just in general, their expertise that they'll bring into South African cricket can only benefit our cricketers. I think the competition, the standard of Betway SA20, the international players with the best South Africans, and these youngsters, to get their opportunity, get their foot in through the door on this type of platform, I think is an incredible opportunity for them. And it's great to see that there was interest in the rookie pick. We debated it for a long time, and we wanted to create the opportunity for a youngster to be a part of these squads, and I think that we got that today. Once we get to season, we'll see if some of these youngsters get their opportunity and how they go. But it's a great storyline, and I think for all of us, South African cricket's never had a problem producing talent, and it's now about getting that talent up to a high-performing level over the years, and that's the goal of Betway SA20, that we can start bridging the gap between sort of where domestic cricket currently is and where the international game is, and start producing some stars and seeing our national team perform really well at a consistent level going forward.
Are there any last takers for the last question you have? And then we'll go to
Graham, speaking about not only extending the cost to the youngsters, but also just on a more global level, I know it's baby steps, obviously, in terms of the Irish players, but are you also chuffed that you guys are starting to attract interest and tapping into an emerging market like Ireland, in Paul and Lorca getting picked?
Yeah, associate nations, I think, are critical. There's some world-class players in those teams. We've seen some, of the Afghanistan talent picked up early. We saw a number of Holland players in the auction, and then you mentioned some of the Irish. So, it's great to see some of the associate talent coming, into South Africa. There'll be new storylines from them. I don't think our fans will be as up to date in terms of what they are capable of, but there's some seriously good cricketers there. And we were happy when we were looking at the auction list to see that we had a number. I think it's important to also support that associate piece in the world game. So yeah, we were happy with that.
Graham, subsequent years to tournaments are usually more difficult. Year one is, there's a lot of hype and excitement. Year two gets a little bit more difficult to deliver because, we've seen it, maybe can it sustain that level? We've signed an extension of an agreement with Rain in terms of fan experience element and getting better experiences in stadiums. How difficult has it been to essentially keep up that sort of momentum and carry it on going into year two, and then obviously from the types of things that you guys are doing to try and keep up that momentum, either from a fan experience point of view?
Yeah, look, if I go back to last year and I think about, there was just negative comments every time we went somewhere. I think after the failed attempts in South African cricket, the way the international players came, that first crop that we managed to get in that supported the potential opportunity of a third attempt, then attracting the six type of franchises, and then in a short space of time, achieving the success that I think the tournament did in season one was incredible. I think, but the hard work doesn't stop, and we know, every year you've got to get up and you've got to deliver these type of things. We've set big ambitions of being the biggest league outside of India. We also, really want to attract the number one sports and entertainment stuff. I think we start to bring that into our in-stadium experience. And also through this year, we've had a bit more time to really look at some of the things we never had a chance to do. But ultimately, I think the in-stadium fan experience, the way it comes through on broadcast, and the cricket will always be key to us. So, to see the teams put together today is another big milestone for season two. As I said, there's some outstanding cricketers on show, both local and international, and I think potentially some great storylines in season two.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your attendance, and we'll see you at the cocktail function.
You will see me there for sure.